All right. Well, again, I want to say, God, you are good. Thank you for this opportunity. I have in studio with me Miss Dorin Collins, a Belizean living abroad, a Belizean who know the life of Belize, and a Belizean who have gone beyond uh, the normal life and write a book. And so we are featuring this morning the same book. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it too good, Nacho. Yeah, that's the thing with green screen. They're not like not no green, but they says it's not. You don't read a book by the cover. You get inside and see what it's all about. So we will get inside this book in live color as we talk to Miss Dorin. Dorin, good morning and welcome to my refuge. Thanks.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you for coming in. Doreen, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background because some people know where you were born and grew up, your family background a little bit, so that we set the stage as we move forward.
Okay. First, I just want to give honor to God and for Mr. Richard for allowing me to be here. Um, so my background, I was actually born in Santana Village. That's
Okay.
close by Mascal. If anybody, I know you guys, some people know
Yeah.
Mascal Village. And so I was born in Santana. I grew up on a huge farm with about 7 of my siblings at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have electricity, stove, refrigerator, any of that stuff, but I felt like I was rich because we was happy we had each other.
Yes.
And I'm just grateful for where God brought me from, but at the same time, I never forgot about where I grew up and my parents they taught me the knowledge, they gave me the information to always be grateful no matter where you're at and always give back to your community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that stuck out with me, and just to be able to have the opportunity to go to the United States and to learn all these knowledge and come back and to be able to give back to my country.
Yes.
It's an honor for me to do that.
No, no, I noticed you write a book say last between two worlds. Is that you got last when you got in America between and try to figure out whether Belize or America you will live? What is it? Why that topic? Why is that theme on your book?
Okay, so it started with, so let me just tell you how the name of the book came about, then I'll talk to you about how I got to write in the book. So the name of the book was actually because I was in a coma,
Okay.
and I'll let you know how I got in the coma. When I came out, I had amnesia for 2 years, and the doctors told me that it sounds like I'm lost between two worlds, and that's where I got that name from. So I'll go back to my life here, like you mentioned. I want to talk a little bit about what I went through. So my parents decided that they actually wanted to go to America because they wanted to have us get out the village and have a better lifestyle. But I'm thinking, like, what could be better than this?
Yeah.
Like, nothing, I don't see anything wrong. But as children, we don't understand all there is that parents, they want the best for their children.
Yeah.
So they left us with some not siblings, some family members, and I endured. And I'm going to talk for myself because each one of us went through different things, and this is my story. I went through so much after they left. Feeling abandoned, feeling like they've forgotten about us, but that wasn't the case. Just as children, we don't understand as much. But I went through so much while I was there. With the scars and stuff that was left, it was a lot of trauma. And then my mom came, got us, took us to her mom house, which she was a sweetheart. But my grandfather started to molest me, and from there, it was just a lot, crying
Yeah.
out to God over and over, and I felt like He was not there for me
Right.
because He never rescued me. I was thinking, why would He allow this to happen? But now I know that he gave us free will to do his will, but not everyone choose to do his
That's right.
will.
That's right.
And so from there, when my mom came and he molested me until the day he died,
Wow.
and it was so painful knowing that my mom taught us as children, before she left, she said, okay, I'm not going to be here, but just remember that there is a God, that there is a God. You could talk to him. He's invisible, but he's everywhere. And so I'm thinking, if he's everywhere and he's invisible and he's there, well, why don't he come and rescue me over and over? And at the age of 12, I was raped, and I got pregnant by that rape.
Wow.
And I wanted to commit suicide
Yeah.
because I'm thinking now, why am I on this earth? I don't even know my purpose. I didn't know my identity because I was introduced at a young age to, molestation. And now at the age of 12, I'm raped. Like, I didn't want to be on this earth because I didn't want to be used and abused and just go through the heartache and the trauma that I endured. So I wanted to kill myself. I went to a friend's house, and I already planned it out. But on that day, I couldn't buckle my pants. And I told
Wow.
her, like, something, I feel like to throw up. And she said, well, did you take a pregnancy test? Do you know if you're pregnant? And come to find out, her mom went and we got, someone to check me out, and I was pregnant. And so she talked me into it. She's like, you got to go. She didn't know I was going to try to kill myself, but she talked me out, and she was like, the mom was like, you got to go back to your parents' home. And after a long time of talking to me, and I decided, okay, I'm going to go back
That's in Belize.
in Belize.
Okay.
So I went back, and my parents, I told them I was pregnant. My dad decided that same night that he have a friend who is a dentist, and he's going to call him. So he called his friend who was a dentist, and the dentist decided to do the abortion. My dad only had $800 saved, he told him. And so he accepted the $800, and the following day was when we went to get the abortion. I did not know that Belize had a basement. That was the first time I found out that Belize have a basement. We went downstairs, my mom and myself, and I felt violated all over again.
Wow.
Because now he's asking me to remove my clothes, and with no medication. None, not even a pain pill, nothing. And I could still remember the pain, the excruciating pain. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Seeing him with these instruments. And, oh, my God, my mom was there, and I was just squeezing her hand, and she was just there like she was feeling everything. Because as mothers,
Wow.
we do feel and have that connection, and we don't want to see our children go through this.
Yeah.
But it was horrible that I didn't even, like after the procedure, I didn't even walk for like a couple months or so, like really good because of the
Wow.
pain that I
Could
was still
imagine.
having. And I didn't want to see no one. I didn't want to talk to no one. But I cried out to God so many times. And I felt like he wasn't there. So now at the age of about 16, I already knew who I was going to marry. My dad already said, this is the person. He's a good guy. He financially stable and all that stuff, but I didn't care about that. And so at the age of 17, I rebelled, and I went and married somebody else. They were younger than the other person, but they're still older than me because they were in their 20s. And I was 17. So we decided to get married, go to the United States. From that marriage, I have three beautiful children. Been divorced 20 years and now remarried for 3 years to a wonderful man. But during the time after the divorce, because I thought I never enjoyed life during the time I was in the home, and then I got married, and then I got kids. So I was out there just doing everything, and I was running away from the church. But since I had my children and they were growing up, I see the way how my son looked like he wanted to get in bad company. So I decided, okay, I'm going to find a church and have them like just take part and activities and so forth. So that's what I did, and that's the only way that I went to church was because of my children. But I rebelled so much in America that I came to the point where I'm going to go back to school. I never had my GED.
Wow.
I didn't know how to drive after divorce. I had to learn to do everything. I remember looking for jobs, don't even have the month's rent, but I would walk up the street and stop at every store on one side and coming back every store on the other side. Um, but I would, I was looking and searching and making sure that I try to get a job and how am I going to feed these kids and all this stuff. But God provided a way, and I got a job at a law firm, the first job. And so I wanted, one of my dreams as a kid was actually to be able to be a nurse. And so I got my GED, my associates, and then I started into the nursing program. Now, I was 3 months away from being a nurse, and this is where my whole life changed. So 3 months away from being a nurse. So me and my two friends was going to stop at my sister's house, who lived in a back house. The front house was vacant for over a year. And at this time, me and my sister wasn't on the same, wasn't on the same page. We was going through a little thing. But I still wanted to stop by and check on her and make sure that she's okay. So the front house was always vacant. Now I stopped there, me and my two other friends who was waiting in the car. And I entered the gate because it was open as normal. And I walk around the corner, and there was sitting a German Shepherd dog. And we looked at each other in the eyes, like no signs that he was going to attack. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to walk, because they said if you run, the dog could attack you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to walk. All of a sudden, this dog, out of nowhere, just like I hear this big growling, and he knocked me to the ground. He was a huge dog.
Wow.
And I'm down on the ground, and I'm actually fighting, but I'm like to myself, if I said maybe this is the last day, I don't know if I'm going to get up, because I'm trying to fight this dog. He get my lip. I'm feeling the flesh hanging because it was like ground beef on my mouth. I'm feeling blood. I'm tasting it. And all that rushed through my head was my jugular veins, because in nursing school we learn about if you got your jugular vein cut or anything, you could bleed to death, and you just have so many seconds. And so it was very scary for me. And then my kids flashed before my eyes. All these memories start coming back, like in my mind. And one of the things that I remember was my dad, how he sowed his seed, man. That's why it's important to sow seeds in our children. Although we feel like they're not listening, I'm telling you, it's there, it sinks down, because the more that you tell them, the more faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God.
That's right.
And just like that, the more that we talk and we the more that we hear something, it sinks down in our unconscious mind. And I'm hearing this, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And that's what came in my mind that I remember my dad used to always say. And I said, Lord, I'm so sorry, just give me one more chance so I could be used by you. And this is my last cry, because in the past I cried out. I thought he wasn't there. I knew there was a God, but I didn't trust to have a relationship with him, because as a kid I just went through all these stuff. So I finally got the courage to fight this dog off. Like I was giving up, but then I heard, and I know it's God. When you hear that voice, don't say something tell you to do good. Of course, it's God's voice. And so I heard this voice saying, and this God voice, get up and fight. This is not your day. So I started fighting. I started kicking. I felt like I was screaming, and nobody didn't even hear my screaming, because nobody didn't come. But I was behind the fence, and in front of the fence was some cars, so my friends couldn't see that I was on the ground fighting. So I decided I'm going to fight this dog. I finally get the dog off me, and I'm running, but I couldn't get to the gate in time, so I had to jump a fence. Now, when I jumped the fence, the dog grabbed my nursing shoes, because I was still in my uniform, grabbed my nursing shoes, and my head hit the pavement. And that's all that I remembered. My friends said that's when they saw me trying to climb in the back of a pickup truck, and I have all the pictures in the book. So I tried to climb in the back of a pickup truck, and I fell. I don't even remember that. But my friends, they rushed over there because the dog was coming out the gate. And they said they had to chase away the dog. The neighbors came out, and they finally got the dog back in the gate, and they locked the gate. One of them, we had just learned CPR a week before.
Wow.
We had learned CPR, not knowing that you never know when you might, save a life. And that's why it's important for us to get this knowledge. But one of them did CPR on me, and the other one called 911. She, while doing CPR, she did it until the paramedics came. In the hospital, you know, I had an outer body experience where I was in the ceiling floating, and I'm looking at this person being operated on, and it was chaos in the room. And I'm looking and I'm hearing everything, but I'm not feeling nothing, and it's like a peace. And looking at this person, look like they're in so many pain, so much pain, and I'm like not feeling nothing. But the doctors, they said she's going flatline. I hear like a one song, and when the doctors say that I'm going flatline, I was taken through this beautiful channel, beautiful. And the farther away that I went in this channel, the less memory I have on this earth.
Yeah.
And I was taken to this other world, and I was a huge giant overlooking the whole world in a white dress. And my hair was black, like when I was younger, and it was beautiful. No memory of this world. And there's waterfalls all over the earth, and I sat on a waterfall like I'm sitting on this chair. And I look over to my left, and some people was waving, and some people was calling me, and I walked over. And the more that I walked over, the more that I was shrinking to the level I'm at right now. And when I got to them and I started hugging them, it's like they were waiting for me. And I thought I knew them, but I just couldn't put a name to their faces. I'm hugging them. They were showing me all over the world. It felt like I walked all over the world. And I had a lot of questions throughout my life before the coma. One of them was actually religion. Everybody say they're the one. I used to talk to my dad. I said, the Catholic, the Adventist, the Muslim, everybody, the Baptist. Like, you know, I'm confused. That's what I used to be telling my dad in the past. And I used to be so scared of that, so scared of that. And because I was a single mother, it was so difficult for me to raise 3 kids, so I had like 2 to 3 jobs. When I do get home in the evening, that was the little time that I spent. On the weekends, I would go party. So I wasn't there as much for my children as I should have been. But during the coma, I saw people bowing down on mats, people praising God in different ways. I've seen all different color people all over the world, people playing instruments, and it was just beautiful and peaceful, and you feel the presence of God. But I didn't see like, oh, there goes God. But you feel that strong energy that you know that he's there.
Yes.
And no night never came in this place, none, no night, not even a moonlight. It wasn't even dark. It was as bright as the sun, and on this earth, when we look at, we can't even look up on the sun, and directly. And I was there. It's a long story. I'm not going to get in all the details, but when I did came back, it was when I felt like something coming out of my throat, and I never experienced pain before, and I didn't understand what was going on because I thought I live in this place. After being there and walking over, and it felt like one day because no night never came. And when I came back, I heard a voice, and I know this is a doctor now, saying that your eyes been closed for so long, so you're not going to be able to see because of the longness that, you know, my eyes been closed. And I'm trying to tell them, but I was in so much pain. My mouth was locked because of the surgeries that they did. And I'm trying to move my hand, but my muscles can't move. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I just could mumble. And so I finally, when it was time, when I was, you know, I'm mumbling out, and they finally could understand what I'm saying. I said, there's somebody, and in this place that I was at for 3 months, everybody was wearing robes, all different type of robes. Everybody was natural. There's no jewelry, no building, nothing like that. Everything was different. And so I'm trying to tell him, I said, there's somebody sitting here next to my leg with their hand on my leg. I can't see a face, but there's somebody in a white robe. And I'm trying to tell him, the doctor said, there's nobody there, ma'am. We're the only ones in this room. But when I could have seen the doctor or people physically, I couldn't see that person, but I know that he exists. I know that he bought me for a reason, but at that time I didn't know until way after, because I had amnesia, and I'm telling doctors, I don't live here. This is a nightmare, a word that I never felt like I used before.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, this is not where I live. I'm going to close my eyes, go to sleep, and I'm going to go back. And I thought that for a long time, I thought that if I go to sleep in the night, I'm going to go back to this place. And I was wondering, why would I come back? Or they told me that I have a life here and I don't remember. Why would I come? If I live here, why did I feel like I lived there? And why would I come back here in a place such like pain and agony and confusion? And as the doctor evaluate me and so forth, they had me in therapy and all that stuff, had me doing puzzles and different stuff. But the first time it felt like I ever experienced moonlight was the night. And I asked the doctor, what was that outside up there in the sky? And he told me. And it felt like it was the first time that I experienced on earth. Like I felt like when people, a baby just come in the world, or when they start learning, like they're just learning about these things. And I told the doctor, I described the place to them. And I also described to them, I said, can I see, I remembered before I went, I said, I want to see the nurse that actually operated on me. I heard everything they said. And I told him what I heard word for word. And the doctor, a female doctor, came in, because I remember a light around us, and she was saying all these stuff, get the gauze, get the syringe, all these stuff. And she came in and she was crying and she hugged me. She said there was no way that you would be able to hear everything I said word for word like that, because you was already gone into a coma. And she said she never believed in a God until that day, and she hugged me and she was crying. And I didn't understand what was going on. They brought my kids in the room, and they said, these are your kids, ma'am, and do you remember them? And I had a nervous breakdown, and I just started crying, and I just tell them, can you guys go out the room? It felt like somebody just put these responsibilities on me, tell me that I have kids, and in this place, nobody owned nothing. Nobody wasn't saying, this is my kid, or that's, there's just kids all over playing, and everything was so beautiful. But it was a process for me. When it was time for me to go home, it was so difficult because I didn't remember who I'm going home with. You're going to send me home with some strangers. I'm telling them I don't want to go. I'm going to go back to this place where I came from. But as you can see, I'm still here. So I had to come to a point where I had to say, okay, Lord. But I went home, and I remember going home and not knowing how to walk or how to talk and feed myself. So my daughter had to help me and my children with, with activities, daily activities and so forth. And it was a difficult time for me and my children. I used to ask them, like, would your mom want you to actually stay at home and help someone? Like, don't you need to go to school? And my daughter would just ignore me, and she would just keep, because I gave them a hard time. I gave them a very hard time. Even to feed me, I told her, just leave me alone. Let me feed myself. And I was very stubborn. But it was just a process. I remember the first time she went to school. At this time, I'm walking, but I have to hold on to stuff because of the injury to my brain. And it felt like when I'm walking, like someone is pushing me over to a side, so I have to hold on to everywhere. So I finally got everybody to school, and I decided I need to use the restroom, and I'm there dangling my leg at the side of the bed, and I'm thinking, like, okay, develop a plan in my mind where I'm going to hold on and how I'm going to go to the bathroom. I decided to go. It took me almost 30 minutes to get there. When I did get to the bathroom, I actually slipped down. My muscles gave out, and I landed on the floor, and I urinated myself, and I just started crying. I just started like, Lord, why would you bring me back to this place? Why would you bring me here to something that I don't even have a memory of? And so it was just so hard for me. I'm there on the ground, and that's where I said, Lord, whosoever that person was before, please forgive her, because I don't even know who she was. But if there's things that she's done in her life, forgive her. And me, you could use me, because I don't even belong to myself. I can't do nothing for myself. So I want you to take full control of my life, because I believe that you exist. I was there, but I don't know why. You must have a purpose why you send me back. And it was just then when I was crying out to the Lord, and I remember a song that my daughter had me listening to a lot. It was Carry Me, Lord. carry me through this time or something like that. But I listened to that song and it really encouraged me.
Wow.
And I just started to get in the Word. I asked the doctor, I told the doctor even the place where I was at, there's a God there. And I described everything. And he said, but there's a God here too. I said, really? I said, well, how do I know about him? How do I find out? Let me see if it's the same God, the one that we was worshiping up there. And he said, well, the Bible. So I got the Bible and I started to actually study. I started to find out who he say that I am. And I discovered that my purpose was really for him to use me
Yeah.
while I'm here to carry out his mission. And so my faith started building here on this earth because I didn't understand why I had to come back to a painful world.
Yeah.
And it's hot and it's just a lot of stuff. And I didn't understand it. So I
But-
got in the Word. Go ahead. Sorry.
But now you know. Now you're seeing the full color of what the Lord is showing you. Because,
Yes.
man, I tell you, it's a great joy and honor to have you in studio. And I'm thinking, can I have you back another time? Because
Of course.
we have not scratched the surface. You know, your story lasts between two worlds. We're talking about Dorin Collins, but there's a lot of Dorin Collins out there who lasts between where at least you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
These guys, these ladies are not. I mean, we could talk so much because Belize is living in denial when it comes to abortion, that we don't
Right.
do that. Belize is living in denial when it comes to my grandpa or my dad raped me. Belize is living in denial. So there's so much things you could talk about
Right.
because of the authority. You've been there, you've done that. You've been through hell and come back. How do we, first of all, before I know we have 17 minutes more to go, but where can they get your book?
Okay, so I spoke at Brody's. Brody's is going to carry my books. You could get my books on my website, dorincollins.com. That's DORINCOLLINS.com. All my books are there. It's going. I have journals, I have poetry, and my last Between Two Worlds. And when you click on the link, you could always go straight to Amazon. But I'm not sure if Belize could do that yet.
Yeah,
But,
we could go to Amazon.
oh, really?
They buy online. A lot of Amazon buyers
That's
are here.
great.
Yes.
Okay, so go to dorincollins.com and you could purchase my book. I also have my email on the website. So if you're interested in me speaking, I do speaking engagements and so forth. What else? And I do also counseling. That's one thing I want to.
Okay.
I want to be able to link up with some organizations, schools, and see if I could work with them. I know that we have Zoom now, so I am interested because, as you said, there's a lot of people out there that's been abused, that is scared of speaking out because even the parents, some parents know and they don't want to be able to, oh, I can't work, how am I financially going to provide
Yeah.
for my family? Or, and then some of them don't even want to believe their children.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
some people out there, the neighbors judging, oh, you must have wear certain clothes, or you must have asked the guy to do that. No, we have to stop being judgmental. We need to believe our children. We need to support them. We need to love them, listen to them. Because sometimes we just jump in, and we can learn a lot when we listen
That's right.
to them and believe them. Give them that voice from a young age and be able to know that God is a God who, if he provide for the sparrows, he's going to provide for you. It's a mindset. We got to change that old wineskin mind of thinking and be able to know that with God, all things are possible with him, and try to have a relationship with him. I just want to I know that we only have not
No,
long.
Good. Yeah.
But some of the things that I got when God rerouted my life, it helped me to, my sister and I, as I said, wasn't on good terms. She was the one that signed and said, keep her along as possible because they were going to take me off in 2 months. They said she's too long in this coma, and we got that draw us closer. With religion and what I saw, he said that was none of your business. People tend to worry about this one and that one in the church, and people are going to judge me or this religion and that. God said, I created everybody on this earth. Leave me, I'm the judge of everyone. I want you to have a relationship with me, and he want you, if you're listening, he want you to have a relationship with him. That's how I discover my true purpose on this earth. and it's going to take your effort and consistency, because it's not going to feel good at first.
Yeah.
But you got to do it on purpose. And I learned, because I was scared of that it's only a change of world. Just like when you're having a baby, it's a change of world for that baby. When they come out and they see the light, and the doctors, we're rejoicing on this side, while the baby, this is something new. It's like when somebody leave this earth, and I love this because my husband is the one that taught me this way of thinking. It's like when someone leave this earth, on the other side where I was, people was rejoicing. And on this side, we are grieving. So it's just a change of world, and it taught me that. And the other thing that I learned was my children. I had to learn a lot about myself through them. And so they're like my friends. I cherish them. Cherish your children. Cherish what God gave us the power to be steward over the things and like your children on this earth. But going back to the abuse situation, because I know I'm skipping around. Men out there, if you're listening, the hardest job that you will ever try to do, and I say try, is to try to control someone else. And God didn't put us here to be used. God give us free will to do his will, but it's not everyone that choose to do it. So the way that you change your mindset, if this is something that you've been having for a long time, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to need to feed your mind on something different, because when they commit the act is not when they thought about it. Brodis is going to carry my books. You could get my books on my website, dorincollins.com. That's DORINCO. And see if I could work with them. I know that we have Zoom now, so I am interested, because, as you said, there's a lot of people out there that's been abused, that is scared of speaking out, because even the parents, some parents know, and they don't want to be able to, I can't work, how am I financially going to provide for my family? Or, and then some of them don't even want to believe their children.
Yes.
Or some people out there, the neighbors judging, you must have wear certain clothes, or you must have asked the guy to do that. No, we have to stop being judgmental. We need to believe our children. We need to support them. We need to love them, listen to them. Because sometimes we just jump in, and we can learn a lot when we listen to them and believe them. Give them that voice from a young age, and be able to know that God is a God who, if he provides for the sparrows, he's going to provide for you. It's a mindset. We got to change that old wineskin mind of thinking, and be able to know that with God, all things are possible with him, and try to have a relationship with him. I just wanted to, I know that we only have not long.
Go ahead. Yeah.
But some of the things that I got when God rerouted my life, it helped me to, my sister and I, as I said, wasn't on good terms. She was the one that signed and said, keep her as long as possible, because they were going to take me off in 2 months. They said she's too long in this coma, and we got that draw us closer. With religion, and what I saw, he said that was none of your business. People tend to worry about this one and that one in the church, and people are going to judge me, or this religion and that. God said, I created everybody on this earth. Leave me, I'm the judge of everyone. I want you to have a relationship with me, and he want you, if you're listening, he want you to have a relationship with him. That's how I discover my true purpose on this earth. And it's going to take your effort and consistency, because it's not going to feel good at first.
Yeah.
But you got to do it on purpose. And I learned, because I was scared of that it's only a change of world. Just like when you're having a baby, it's a change of world for that baby. When they come out and they see the light, and the doctors, we're rejoicing on this side, while the baby, this is something new. It's like when somebody leave this earth, and I love this because my husband is the one that taught me this way of thinking. It's like when someone leave this earth, on the other side where I was, people was rejoicing. And on this side, we are grieving. So it's just a change of world, and it taught me that. And the other thing that I learned was my children. I had to learn a lot about myself through them. And so they're like my friends. I cherish them. Cherish your children. Cherish what God gave us the power to be steward over the things and like your children on this earth. But going back to the abuse situation, because I know I'm skipping around. Men out there, if you're listening, the hardest job that you will ever try to do, and I say try, is to try to control someone else. And God didn't put us here to be used. God give us free will to do his will. but it's not everyone that choose to do it. So the way that you change your mindset, if this is something that you've been having for a long time, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to need to feed your mind on something different, because when they commit the act is not when they thought about it. They were thinking about it way before.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
feeding, they were thinking and thinking
Perversion.
yes. And so you got to feed your mind on the Word of God, on some motivational videos, whatever it is, but meditate on something positive in order to, and know that everything, God, put God first. A lot of people don't believe that God exists, because why would God do certain things? God showed me that I was taking you through those things, that you never stayed in it, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego never stayed in the fiery furnace. God was there with them, and God is here with us. And just know, if you're listening and you're going through something and you feel like you're hopeless and you don't see a future, know that God is there. You could talk to him. Because sometimes when you feel like I did in the past, that he turned his back, that don't mean that he's not listening. He is listening. But it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. And remember that you have a relationship with God, even if your parents don't believe you and you feel like you're stuck in a situation, know that you can have a relationship and talk to him, and he is there.
Well, I think as you talk about share your testimony, you've been through some dark moment, but God was still there.
Right.
And I think the biggest challenge is for people to see in the midst of darkness, there's a light,
Yes.
who is Christ.
Yes.
When you think about, there's the whole debate whether if you get pregnant by your father's grandpa or brother, relatives, or you got to do abortion. And it's like the abortion thing is growing. I mean, America, that's the hottest topic right now in America,
Right.
whether giving the rights to women to do abortion. Belize now we are thinking seriously about the whole era of divorce, because you have compatible, so you could get divorced just like that, and just how it affects the kids. I know we talk to young ladies who says, "Man, I've been raped by my stepfather," so forth. But we can't talk about it because my mom don't believe me, and it become a pain. And so when you've been through 1, 2, 3, and so forth, the dog didn't make it better. The dog just add to your misery. It went into a coma. God bring you out of a coma and still allow you to see the love of God, because we tend to mix the love of God with the hatred or the perversion
Right.
of those who done us wrong.
Right.
Instead of come broken for the Lord, we come with our hands sticking out like, "No, come close, God. I don't love you. I don't want you." And so there's a lot, and I just want to make sure that our listeners know again that your book, there's a book of your story that tells a story, and sure, it's a book that can be read and find out. And Dorin, I hope that we have a lot of opportunity to.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of things are going through my mind. It's like there's a lot of girls right now and women who need to talk, but they don't know who to talk to. And so for you to be available for counseling is great. 2, there's a lot of young female who need to be rescued, who are going through hell at home,
Right.
and don't have that support, that needs to talk to somebody. We heard of rape happen between such and such, and when that first person step out and talk about it, more people say, "Come, oh
Right.
yeah, that was happening." And
Right.
I can't help from remember the scripture that Jesus says, "Peter, Peter, Satan is trying to sift you like a wheat." He said, "But I'm praying for you, so when you come out of this, go strengthen your brothers." In other words,
Right.
go talk about it, so that people can be rescued, because
Right.
there's never too late to come into marvelous
That's good.
light. And so I mean, I'll be talking to you some more and see how we can link up, because man, I
Yes.
know we can make use. And I just want to open up our line. We got 8 minutes more to go.
Okay.
But somebody want to call in and have a question, or maybe just want to register yourself. You could, Dorin, you have a number in Belize here, Dorin?
Yes, it's 665
665
3669.
3669.
Yes.
And that's
right here.
that's Dorin Doreen
Dorin Collins.
Collins.
That's in Belize here. I live in LA, so I could be reached.
665
3669.
3669.
Yes, and my I have a lot of motivational videos on YouTube, which is Dorin Collins. Facebook, if you have Facebook, you could link up with me through Messenger and just say that I'm from Belize and on your situation, and I could get back with you and talk to you as well. One of the things that I want to mention that I'm led to mention, sometimes when we go through stuff, it feels like a dream or a nightmare
Yeah.
when we're
Like
younger.
watching a movie.
For years, I had I remember about this incident that occurred between the age of 3 and 5. And I came to Belize, and this week, the person in my family that actually was the person that did this confirmed to me and told me, he said, "Can I see you?" and pulled me aside. And he admitted that he used to touch me. And at that age, which confirmed it wasn't a nightmare, but because that was that age, I didn't really want to talk about it because I want to make sure that it's true. But we was just talking normal, but I felt something weird, like just in my spirit. But when he called me out and he said he have to tell me because it's been bothering him and all these years. If you guys that does wrong could admit it, when you expose the devil for who he is, he got to flee in the name of Jesus.
That's right.
He got to flee. But the first step for your healing is to admit. And for us as victims, the first thing that we got to do is forgive ourselves for blaming ourselves and forgive that person.
Yeah.
I told him I forgive him. I said, it's not for you, it's for me. And it's a process.
Yeah.
It was a process. After hearing that, I had to go by myself and be able to just grieve that little girl that went through that. It felt
Yeah.
like it just happened all over again.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, we just prayed and we got together, and that's why we have to be able to have a support system. Find someone that believes you and be able to have a voice. Because
right.
my voice was taken away from me, but I have it, and that's why I'm back here.
Right.
And I'm about to let God use me. Like when I was on that floor, from then, I grew in God, and I said, just use me. But he was molding me.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready. He's here. He's speaking. And I know that you also one day will be able to have a voice that will give other people hope out there. It's all about letting God use you, because when he uses you, men or people could think that they're using you, but they're not. Remember, and leave all vengeance to God.
That's right.
Leave
That's
all
right.
vengeance to God.
802-1080 is number to call. We got 5 minutes more to go. Doreen, how much more time do you have in Belize before you return to?
So Saturday is when I'm leaving.
Okay.
And I spoke with my husband, and I will be coming back. I just did a conference, a women's conference, which was so successful. Many women came out. I really give them applaud because it took courage for them to be able to share their story. And we had a wonderful time from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. People were just pouring out. And you hear these things, and all I could do is like, Lord, just give me the words to tell these people. And we prayed together, and man, it was uplifting. We as a community have to stop beat ourselves down. Stop beat each other down. Come as women to be able, because God is using us to pray and to develop us as parents. Remember that if God could trust you with what he gave you, he's going to be able to give you more. But we have to be able to be grateful where we're at, learn and grow from every experience, even if it's a negative or a positive.
Yeah.
Although all these negative things happened to me, I could be aware. That's what I took from it. Be aware. Teach your children, about the necessary signs. If somebody touch you, if it don't even hurt, they're not supposed to touch you. If they tell you it's a secret, no, you come and talk to me. Build that relationship with them from a young age, and be able to know that, kids will tell you these things. They're not going to make it up. So learn to believe your kids, and learn to just be able to let God use you as a parent, and know that it's not only men that could provide. He might be providing for you, or God is the source. The resource is everything comes from him.
Yeah.
So just don't ask or depend on the creation and man. Depend on the Creator who created us. in His image and likeness. So know that you're beautiful inside and
Amen.
out.
Good word there, Dorin. I think that's what we need to hear this morning because, like you said, we tend to stick our head in sand like ostrich and pretend all is well when
Right.
there's people, their daughters and sons are going through some
Right.
terrible moment because of wrongdoing. And so, how do we deal with this situation? 802-1080. I don't know if we even have time for call because 3 minutes to 9 o'clock or 3 minutes.
Yes. And
But Doreen, I want you to take the last couple of minutes and just
okay.
wrap up your keyword you want to get out to our
Yes.
listeners.
So I know I've been speaking to the victims, but I also want to speak to the perpetrators as well. That when a woman say no, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
When a woman say no, that don't mean it's like yes to do that. I mean, you're a man. God created each one of us different. So don't try to control a woman. I mean, that's the hardest thing. Just try to be you. Be respectful. Love yourself. I know that sometimes abuse also is a learned behavior, what we've seen at home or what something that was done to us, but it don't give you the right to violate a woman. Know that if you have that thought, don't entertain it.
Yeah.
Just be able to, replace that with a positive thought, which is, just saying, there's perspective. So you switch that perspective around and say, no, you got to talk to yourself, but don't answer yourself. My dad always say that. Talk to yourself and say, no, I'm not going to hurt this little girl. I'm not going to entertain this thought. I'm going to think of good things. And again, you got to be able to recognize the enemy because the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And I want everyone to be able to have a chance at having a relationship with God and getting to know Him. Go in His words. And words are life. They're powerful. So be careful of how we use our words, even for the victims. One of the things that helped me was looking at motivational videos, and I also had to do a lot of self-affirmation. I talked about this yesterday. It was the hardest thing for me to look in the mirror and say I'm beautiful. Although people was telling me I'm beautiful, I did not feel like it because the inside is what matters. And we talked about self-care, and it's always important for you to tell yourself that you're beautiful. Look in that mirror and try it. It's going to be hard. But you have to tell yourself that you're special, that you will make it, that you will get out of that situation. And just be able to, when you have children, do something different. Because if you always do the same thing, you'll never get the same results.
That's right.
So
Thank you, Doreen. Thanks for stopping by.
thank you so much,
We
Mr.
definitely
Richard.
want to say it is a great enlightenment for this morning. And I'm sure that I just want to make sure for the next couple days until Saturday, Doreen number in Belize is
Yes.
665-3669. Call her, talk to her. You might be carrying a time bomb that you feel like you can't talk to nobody. This is
Right.
your opportunity. Talk to someone who been there, done that, and understand the pain.
Right.
We want you to get some help. We will be looking at possible, Doreen, if I could, I would love to have you here Wednesday morning with me
Okay.
on our family matters show.
Okay.
Talk a little bit on the whole area of abortion, which is a
Right.
secret killer in this country,
Right.
and just the whole secrecy of parents living in denial, not want to believe their daughter when they said daddy touched me
Right,
or
right.
stepfather touched me. So, but again, our time is up. God bless you. We're out of here. Have yourself a great day. We'll have Doreen with us on Wednesday again.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping by, Doreen. It's surely a blessing to have you
It's
with
a
us.
blessing for me to be here.
And we are out of here. Here is our program.